The ultimatum. The proximity alarm on Outpost Epsilon 9 shrieked to life at 3:47 Earth Standard Time. Senior Officer Raj Patel jolted awake, coffee mug shattering against the metal floor as he scrambled to the monitoring station. The deep space sensors had picked up something massive, disturbingly massive, emerging from what appeared to be a fold in space-time. "That's impossible," he whispered, adjusting the sensitivity. The readings didn't change. Whatever was out there displaced enough mass to rival a small moon, and it was heading directly toward the Sol system. The message that followed wasn't transmitted through traditional channels. It manifested as a burning sensation in the minds of every human within 50 light-years of Earth, accompanied by images of worlds burning and species extinguished. The meaning was unmistakable. Submit or die. The Vorjak's empire had arrived, and they weren't interested in diplomacy. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for first contact, but nothing had prepared them for this. The United Earth Defense Force mobilized every available ship, but their numbers were few and their technology untested against an alien threat. Colonies on Mars and Europa began emergency evacuations, while Earth's population was thrown into chaos. Among the cacophony of emergency alerts and desperate strategic meetings, a single message arrived at the personal terminal of Captain Maya Chen. It was classified beyond anything she'd seen in her 15 years of service. Ayes Omenoi, Captain CHE. Project Arcturus authorized for deployment. Command transferred effective immediately. Coordinates attached. God help us all. Maya had never believed in fate, but as she stood on the bridge of the Arcturus 6 hours later, she wondered if she'd been wrong all along. The ship was unlike anything she'd ever seen, sleek, impossibly dark, and humming with energy that made her skin prickle. Most of the UEDF didn't even know it existed, a black project built in the shadows of Jupiter's moons. Captain on deck. Lieutenant Isamu Nakamura announced as she entered the bridge. The crew, all 23 of them, snapped to attention. They were the misfits of the fleet, brilliant but rebellious engineers, tacticians with unorthodox approaches, pilots who flew by instinct rather than protocol. They were her kind of people. At ease, Maya said, settling into the command chair. "I know none of you expected this assignment, and I know the brass probably told you next to nothing about why you're here. The simple version is this. We're humanity's last hope against an alien force that wants to wipe us out." The holographic display flickered to life, showing the Vorjak's Armada. 17 vessels of varying sizes, all bristling with weapons Earth's scientists couldn't even identify. Their lead ship will reach Mars orbit in 19 hours. The rest of the fleet is scattered, trying to protect evacuation ships. We have different orders. Maya paused, meeting each crew member's eyes. "We're going to hit them first." Dr. Eliza Santos, the ship's chief scientist, stepped forward. "Captain, you should know what the Arcturus is capable of. It's not just a warship. It's a testbed for technology we don't fully understand." Maya nodded. "That's exactly why we're using it. The Vorjaks don't know what we're capable of either." The Arcturus's engines came to life with a sound like a distant avalanche. Unlike conventional fusion drives, these moved the ship by manipulating the fabric of space itself. Technology reverse-engineered from artifacts found buried beneath Europa's ice. As they approached the edge of the solar system, the first Vorjak scout ships detected them. 3 vessels broke formation, accelerating toward the lone human ship with predatory intent. "They're scanning us," Nakamura reported, monitoring the tactical display. "Energy readings suggest weapons charging." Maya clenched her jaw. "Are the phase shields operational?" Dr. Santos. "Theoretically," Eliza replied. "But we've never tested them against actual weapons fire." "Well, we're about to." Defensive posture, all hands to battle stations. The Vorjaks fired first, searing beams of violet energy that should have vaporized the Arcturus on contact. Instead, the shields flickered, absorbing the energy and redistributing it through the ship's experimental power grid. Shield integrity at 94% and holding, reported Chief Engineer Omar Reyes, his voice betraying his surprise. The energy absorption systems are performing beyond projected parameters. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Let's see what else this ship can do. Nakamura, bring us about. Weapons control, prepare to return fire. The Arcturus moved with uncanny grace for a vessel its size, pivoting in space as if it weighed nothing. The prototype quantum cannons charged with a high-pitched whine. Target the lead vessel, Maya ordered. Concentrated fire. When the quantum cannons discharged, they didn't fire energy beams or projectiles. They fired distortions in reality itself. The fabric of space-time warped around the Lid Vorjak ship, compressing and expanding in rapid sequence. The alien vessel shuddered, its hull integrity failing as fundamental forces tore at its structure. In seconds, it imploded, leaving nothing but scattered debris. The bridge crew stared in stunned silence. What did we just do? Nakamura asked. We created a localized distortion in space-time, Eliza explained, her eyes wide as she reviewed the data, effectively crushing them from the inside out. The remaining Vorjak ships hesitated, clearly reassessing the threat. It gave Maya the opening she needed. All power to engines, she commanded. Let's take the fight to them while they're confused. The Arcturus surged forward, quantum cannons cycling for another shot. The Vorjak ships began evasive maneuvers, but they were designed to intimidate through brute force, not for agility. The Arcturus's second shot caught another vessel mid-turn, tearing it apart along structural weaknesses. For a moment, it seemed the tide was turning. Then, a new sensation washed over the crew, another psychic message, but this one directed specifically at the Arcturus. The images were more focused, a massive fleet, hundreds of ships strong, already en route from Vorjak space. The scouts were just the beginning. Maya's grip tightened on her chair. Dr. Santos, what can you tell me about these psychic communications? Can we block them? Use them? Eliza frowned, adjusting settings on her console. They're using quantum entanglement to bypass normal communication limitations, essentially linking particles across vast distances. It's brilliant, actually. And if I'm reading this correctly, we might be able to use the Arcturus's own systems to intercept or even respond. Do it, Maya ordered, and plot a course to intercept their main fleet. We need to buy Earth more time. As the Arcturus accelerated toward what could be humanity's final stand, Maya realized the true nature of their mission. They weren't expected to win this war, just to delay the inevitable, to give Earth time to prepare whatever last-ditch defenses it could muster. But Maya Chen had never been good at accepting the inevitable. The Vorjaks think they know what humans are capable of, she told her crew as the final scout ship fell to their weapons. They're about to learn they're wrong. On the main view screen, the vast darkness of space stretched before them, and somewhere out there, an armada was coming. But for the first time since the invasion began, Maya felt something she hadn't expected. Hope. Defiance. The Vorjak's main fleet emerged from hyperspace like a storm front rolling across a clear sky. 63 warships of varying configurations, from nimble destroyers to the massive dreadnought at the center of their formation. Earth's defensive fleet looked pitiful in comparison. 17 vessels hastily recalled from patrol duties across the solar system, plus whatever civilian ships had been retrofitted with makeshift weapon systems. Maya watched the tactical display from the Arcturus's bridge, her expression grim. They'd managed to destroy 5 scout vessels over the past 12 hours, but each engagement had taught the Vorjaks more about human tactics and technology. The element of surprise was fading. Status report, she demanded, as the ship's stealth systems kept them hidden at the edge of the combat zone. Phase shields at 72% capacity. Chief Engineer Rice reported. We've optimized the quantum cannons for multiple firing modes, but the power drain is substantial. 3 shots at full power will leave us vulnerable. Dr. Santos looked up from her station. I've made progress on the Vorjak's communications. We can't intercept their psychic network completely, but I can broadcast our own message if needed." Lieutenant Nakamura cleared his throat. "Captain, Earth Command is requesting our return to defensive positions. They're preparing for the worst." Maya stood, walking to the holographic display that showed the unfolding battle. The first exchanges of fire had already begun. Earth vessels launching conventional missiles that the Vorjak's point defenses were swatting away like irritating insects. "We're not going back," she said quietly. "Not yet." "Captain," Nakamura questioned. "The Arcturus isn't just a warship," Maya explained, turning to face her crew. "It's a message. Every time we engage the enemy, we're telling them something about humanity, that we're resourceful, that we're adaptable, that we won't submit without a fight." She gestured to the massive Vorjak's dreadnought. "Their psychic messages make one thing clear. They conquer by overwhelming force and fear. They've never encountered a species that stood up to them. Not really. We need to change their expectations." Elisa frowned. "You're suggesting psychological warfare against a telepathic species?" "Exactly," Maya nodded. "Lieutenant, plot a course that will take us through their formation. Maximum speed, minimal engagement. Target only vessels that directly threaten us." "That's suicide," Rise protested. "No," Maya countered. "It's a demonstration. Dr. Santos, I need you to prepare a message through their psychic network. When we're in position, we'll broadcast a clear image of our intentions." As the Arcturus powered up, Maya felt the familiar hum of the experimental engines resonating through the hull. This ship, for all its advanced technology, was still piloted by humans, fallible, emotional, stubborn humans who refused to accept extinction as their fate. Stealth systems disengaging in 3, 2, 1. The Arcturus burst from hiding, accelerating to velocities that would have torn a conventional ship apart. The Vorjak's fleet responded with alarming coordination, vessels breaking formation to intercept the human intruder. "Incoming fire from all vectors," Nakamura called out, his hands dancing across the tactical controls. "Evasive pattern Delta," Maya ordered. "Selective return fire only." The ship shuddered as enemy weapons fire glanced off the phase shields. The quantum cannons responded with surgical precision, not attempting to destroy targets but disabling key systems. Propulsion, weapons, sensors. Each disabled ship created a gap in the Vorjak's formation, a path for the Arcturus to continue its run toward the heart of the enemy fleet. By the time they neared the massive dreadnought, the Arcturus's shields were fluctuating at 31% capacity. Scorch marks marred its hull, and 2 of the secondary systems had failed completely. "We've achieved optimal broadcast position," Dr. Santos announced. "Psychic transmitter ready." Maya took a deep breath. "Send the message." The image they projected wasn't of Earth burning or humanity surrendering. It was simpler than that. The Arcturus, alone against overwhelming odds, choosing to fight rather than submit. Alongside it, carefully constructed emotions, not fear or hatred, but determination, resilience, and something the Vorjaks had likely never encountered from prey species before: defiance with purpose. The response was immediate. The dreadnought's weapons, which had been tracking the Arcturus's approach, suddenly fell silent. The surrounding vessels maintained position, but ceased fire. "They're listening," Santos said incredulously, monitoring the quantum fluctuations that indicated psychic activity. Maya nodded. "Now for Phase 2. Mr. Reyes, activate the resonance drive." The engineer's eyes widened. "Captain, that system is entirely theoretical. We have no idea." "That's the point," Maya interrupted. "They don't know what it does either. All they'll know is that we could have used it at any time." Reyes hesitated, then initiated the sequence. The Arcturus's core began to pulse with strange energy, creating ripples in spacetime that radiated outward. To the Vorjak sensors, it would appear as if the human ship was preparing to unleash something catastrophic. "Broadcast the final message," Maya ordered. Dr. Santos' fingers trembled slightly as she input the commands. The psychic transmission was simple, an offer of ceasefire and withdrawal, or the activation of whatever weapon the Vorjaks now believed the humans possessed. For 67 agonizing seconds, there was no response. The Arcturus hung in space, surrounded by enemy vessels, its bluff either about to succeed spectacularly or fail catastrophically. Then the dreadnought moved. Not toward them, but away. A subtle shift in position that was unmistakably defensive. "They're standing down," Nakamura reported, disbelief coloring his voice. Multiple vessels powering down weapon systems. A new psychic message washed over the bridge crew, different from the threats they'd received before. This one carried concepts of protocol, negotiation, terms. "They want to talk," Santos translated, looking up from her console with wide eyes. "They're requesting direct communication with our leader." Maya allowed herself a small smile. "Open a channel, conventional and psychic. Let's introduce ourselves properly." The face that appeared on the main view screen was not what any of them had expected. The Vorjak's commander resembled something between an insectoid and a cephalopod, with multiple appendages and compound eyes that shifted color as it observed them. "You have demonstrated unexpected capabilities. The translation matrix..." "That's putting it mildly," Maya replied evenly. "You threatened our extinction without any attempt at diplomacy." The alien's appendages shifted in what might have been discomfort. The Vorjak's empire expands through efficiency. Species that cannot defend themselves become subjects. Those that resist ineffectively are removed. And those that prove more trouble than they're worth. Maya challenged. The compound eyes flickered. "Become trading partners instead of subjects. It has been 19 cycles since we last encountered such a species." Maya glanced around at her crew, at the improbable ship that had changed the course of history, at the battle that had paused on the edge of catastrophe. "Then I suggest we begin negotiations," she said firmly, "starting with the immediate withdrawal of your fleet from Earth space." The Vorjak's commander made a gesture that the translation matrix couldn't interpret. "Agreed. You have earned this concession. But understand, Captain, the Empire will be watching your development with great interest." As the communication ended and the Vorjak's fleet began a measured withdrawal, the bridge of the Arcturus erupted in cheers and disbelieving laughter. Maya sank back into her command chair, exhaustion finally catching up with her. "Send word to Earth," she told Nakamura. Tell them the war is over before it really began." Lieutenant Nakamura nodded, but his expression remained concerned. "Do you think they'll stay away? Or is this just temporary?" Maya watched the Vorjak ships disappearing one by one, returning to whatever distant corner of the galaxy they called home. "I think we changed their understanding of humanity today," she replied thoughtfully. "They came expecting submission or useless resistance. Instead, they found something they respect: innovation and courage." She turned to face her crew, these brilliant misfits who had helped her pull off the impossible. "We've bought humanity time. Time to develop our technology, to strengthen our defenses, to prepare for whatever comes next. And next time, it won't be just one ship standing against them." As the Arcturus turned toward home, Maya Chen allowed herself a moment of pride. In the vast darkness of space, humanity had just announced its presence to the galaxy, not as victims or subjects, but as equals to be reckoned with. The message was clear. They had declared war, but one human ship had made them beg for peace.